Welcome to the Torah Birthing Podcast. My name is Batya Khan. I'm a Kallah teacher and birth educator, and my mission is to help you have an awesome transition into motherhood so you could fulfill your tafkid with support and recognize the power that you have. The Torah is not just history. It's the guide for our lives, and it's a great way to work on mindset too. It's important to know, it's important to learn. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. So I have a very different topic from the usual birthy stuff to talk about this week, because I've been noticing something that is extremely frustrating to me. And I just cannot believe the amount of times that I am hearing this. And I think that by this point, we can say we have an epidemic in how we look at Kallah classes. I don't know if it starts from the Kallah teacher or from the person or from the Kallahs or from the Kallahs' mothers or sisters, or us just not maximizing what we could have. But I have so much to say. So the problem is that I've been talking to so many women lately, and just for several years. And there are just so many women who, for one reason or another, from whatever angle you're looking at it, that they just didn't connect. Because the attitude for Kallah teachers is often just, yeah, you kind of pick whoever's out there and you just learn the thing and you do the thing and you learn the halacha and you get what you get out of it, and you don't be picky and you aren't choosy about who your teacher is. And this is like across the spectrum. So it doesn't matter what type of group, Hasidish, Litvish, whatever you want to be, there's such a big problem going on with this. Because I could count on my fingers how many people have told me that they loved and still connect to their Kallah teacher. And it's such a missed opportunity, because imagine what it would be like, or if you're one of those people who I can add to my count, I'd love to hear about how you loved your Kallah classes. If you're one of those people who didn't, then there is such a missed opportunity. Because what happens when you have issues with Shalom Bayis and you never learned any of the basics, and your teacher didn't give you the space to ask questions? Maybe she did. Maybe you didn't feel comfortable. Maybe you have questions about the hows and the whys of Nida, and you're just too embarrassed to ask. And just things don't make sense for you when things are so hard for you. Maybe you feel like your body is broken and you're just running around from place to place trying to figure out what is wrong with you and why stuff that was supposed to be the easiest, most natural thing ever and the holiest things ever as a part of marriage, it just isn't working out for you, and you just feel like a stranger in your own skin. What would it be like if you could have this woman who has done it before you and isn't related to you and is impartial, and you have this trust relationship with her? What would it be like if you could ask her and speak to her anytime, and you just felt like you had someone to reach out to who could help you and guide you in the right direction, even if she didn't have all the answers? And here's my thing. Like, when you're having a Kallah classes, when you're learning all the halachas that you need to know for married life, and often it's so new, which is a different problem with the education system, obviously, it should be okay to ask why. You should be able to ask why. I don't know. I was this girl when I was growing up, like for the longest time. I was even 10 years old, and my aunt was like so annoyed with me. She's like, every silly thing that someone says, you literally need to ask why. Okay, why? Why? And I was super annoying, I'll bet. But it continued on. I always had to know and get to the bottom of different things. And if you're someone who's like that, if you're someone who needs to understand why she's doing the important stuff that she's doing, you deserve to be able to ask questions about Nita. You deserve to be able to understand what it is, what it means, why we do it, and how it can actually be a good thing, and why it is what it is from the sources. What do the actual Sfarim say? What the actual halacha is, and what is a minhag for everything that is in these books. And what are the levels? Because maybe you're not holding somewhere. And there should be place for so much for all of this. And it really, really should be a beautiful experience. And you should be able to speak to your Kallah teacher after. Like, it should be a lifelong relationship where you feel like you have support, someone outside. It just helps to be able to discuss how to be married, literal basic shalom bias tips, why we do the things that we do, and also how to understand yourself on a physical level, basic anatomy, to understand what's going on, to have the resources to go to for further help. And again, if you have this relationship with the Kallah teacher, it doesn't end at Kallah Classes. And it could always be an opportunity to keep learning. And with this is something very important that I want to talk about, because a lot of times we don't have this, and we need to look outside and find other people. And sometimes you feel like you need to redo your Kallah classes or further your education. And sometimes your Kallah teacher was good, but she was just okay, and she doesn't know what resources to help point you in, or if you don't feel comfortable talking to her, whatever the situation is, practically. So there is something that I was part of, and if you're listening to this in real time, you can listen to this for free tomorrow. There is the Shana Rishana Summit that basically is just a whole bunch of different presentations for women for marriage. So there was a day on marriage. There was a day on finances. There was a day on setting up your home, because there's so much physical stuff that is involved with that too. And tomorrow, I am actually one of the presenters, and I'm talking about birth. Yeah, I'm talking about birth, but it is a day to develop yourself. So this whole Shana Rishana Summit did get me thinking, because yeah, I presented on there about birth, but there's so much more resources on there, and so much more talk about marriage and all of the things and all of the tools that you can need. But imagine that you could get, I mean, not the home and not the financial stuff, because then the Kallah classes would be totally endless, and they have to be in a certain framework somewhere. But what would it look like if your Kallah teacher could point you in a good direction for marriage advice, and she could make referrals and help you out and show you different people who could help you with your specific situation? What would it look like if your Kallah teacher was connected to different medical professionals and you felt comfortable talking to her, and she could help you with all of these things and send you to a certain professional who could help you with your specific challenge at that time? What if you just felt comfortable talking and sharing with your Kallah teacher, and she could just support you and validate what needs to be validated and give you just wise tips that are helpful in shalom bayis, in marriage, and in life, and just in being a woman and everything that goes with that. And I know that people have these stories, and I want to hear more of these stories. And at the same time, I feel like if there is even the amount of women who I am talking to that just don't have a good experience, they just don't connect and couldn't talk to their Kallah teacher because they just picked whoever, and the first name that they heard that was available, they just stuck with it and learned with them. Like, I don't know. That in itself is a big enough problem. So I think that your Kallah teacher should be someone you deeply, deeply connect to, and that you go through and you interview different people and different Kallah teachers and see who's the best one for you. Because the best one out there isn't necessarily the best one for you. Every person connects to other people. There is no one size fits all. And I think that it is super, super important if you know a Kallah, if you are a Kallah, so crucial for you to actually interview your Kallah teacher. And if you want to redo your Kallah classes, you're one of those people who's like, oh shoot, I wish that I'd been interviewing and I wish that I'd been thinking about this stuff. Or if you are a Kallah listening and you want to do them right the first time, interview a teacher. And I am offering consults for this. So I'm not saying that I'm the right person for everyone, because then I'd be going against everything that I just said. But I don't want you to settle for just whoever. If I am talking to you about Kallah classes or about refresher classes, we're only going to go ahead if we're a good fit. And that is super, super important to me, that relationship that you could have. And that is what I specialize in. I specialize in asking why since being a kid, literally. And in the connection, like, what does this mean to me? And just creating space and a complete judgment-free zone. And there are other teachers like me. So really, really shop around. And I'm going to include in the show notes a link in the description so that you can actually schedule that consult so we can talk about your Kallah classes or refresher classes, because it is super, super important to just discuss with no commitment and no judgment that you're going to have to work with me. And that is super, super important. And obviously, I can't not talk about the birth stuff. So in the Shana Rishana Summit, you want to check it out. I'm telling you, this is not stuff to miss. I'm actually talking about how to be a birth creator queen and how to actually channel that energy in your birth and how to completely change your perspective on birth. So I'm asking you to change your perspective on Kallah classes and also on birth, because all of this is not what we think it is necessarily. So I'm going to include the link in the description in the show notes as well for that Shana Rishana Summit, because it is something that is so good and is still free if you are going to get on it as current as this episode is. And afterwards, you would be able to also get a VIP access pass that you could listen to the replays. So check it out. It is worth it. And if you want to hear about the full course and to get access to the best possible pricing of the Terra Birthing Academy, how to actually be the creator queen of your birth, step by step, I'm going to walk you through it all. Then you can actually click another link that's going to be in the show notes, in the description, that is going to give you the best access and best pricing to the waitlist. And I am so looking forward to seeing you in any of these and to hearing from you. I'd love to hear, how were your Kallah classes? I want to hear more good stories. Tell me about it. And let's discuss and let's bring a good experience in Kallah classes, in marriage, in birth, to every single woman out there. Let's change this. Let's make this revolution together. I would love to hear what you think. Message me on Instagram @TorahBirthing or send me an email, torahbirthing@gmail.com.